Languages. We all know them, we all love them, and hate them. It's what makes us stand out. It's also a way to get to know each other and even hate each other. But have you ever heard of constructed language? For those who don't know, constructed language, or conlang in short, is a made-up language made for a specific purpose, mainly fiction. And I made one for my webcomic, which might become an animated series. Yeah, still seeing where my project will go. Now, how am I going to explain my conlang? First, I'll dive into its origin, how the language was created, and the reasons behind its development. Next, we'll explore what makes it unique, and examine which real-world languages it might resemble in terms of sound, structure, or style. Finally, I'll explain the purpose behind the conlang, why I made it, and how it ties into my project. Keep in mind, my conlang is still a work in progress, so there's room for adjustments and improvements along the way. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hawk tuah on that notification bell, and let's jump into it. Before diving into the origin of Tumic, yes, that's the name of the language. Just a quick note, since the lore of my webcomic is still evolving, some details might change as the story develops. Now, what webtoon am I talking about? It's called Falro. For now, it focuses on the country of Tumap, specifically the city of Honto, and follows the main characters, mainly Falro, as they embark on various misadventures. Also, it has both lore and character-driven plots. While the premise might sound familiar, there's a lot of originality woven into it. And one of the standout features is the creation of fantasy languages, like the one we're discussing today, Tumic. The Tumic language originated a few days after the founding of the Tumatian Empire, the empire's most populous species, the Jimics, which are a unique race of sentient tulips. Before Tumic, the Jimics spoke a much older, more complex language. This ancient tongue had similarities to real-world languages like Chinese, with vast number of characters and intricate rules that made it incredibly difficult to learn and use efficiently. One day, one of the Jimics had a brilliant idea. Why don't we simplify this language to create something new? The rest of the Jimics agreed, and together, they set out to streamline their language. They removed letters they deemed unnecessary or too similar to others, simplifying the writing system to make it more accessible, and gradually developed what is now known as Tumic. Over time, the language continued to evolve, becoming flexible and efficient form that the Jimics use today. And it's not just in Tumap, even in other fantasy countries that border them in some areas, but we aren't talking about that today. We are talking about Tumic. But hey, that's how Tumic was founded. I might actually not change this part of the Falro lore or history because I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Anyways, let's go to the uniqueness of the language and its real-life inspiration. If you're wondering what are the letters of Tumic, well, I'll add them in the pinned comment. Also, I'll be honest, I might add more letters later, especially vowels like I and Y. Having them combined feels a bit off, so I'll likely tweak that in the future. Now let's dive into what makes Tumic unique. The way Tumic sounds draws inspiration from several real-world languages. It blends elements from Arabic, Persian, and Japanese and Chinese. This gives it a rich and diverse phonetic range while still feeling distinct. Languages sounding similar isn't unusual. Most belong to border language families like the Germanic family or Semitic groups. For example, English, Dutch, and German have noticeable similarities. Even the word water is almost identical across the three, though in German it's Wasser. The Tumic alphabet is visually mixed with Arabic and Latin letters, blending elements from both letters that sound similar. Also, looking at the letters again, I can see it also looking similar to Japanese Hindi and even Assyrian. It's fascinating how Tumic ended up looking and feeling like a mix of so many different writing systems. I never expected it to draw comparisons to so many alphabets, but it just shows how interconnected languages can be, even when crafted from scratch. Also, don't some languages have that one letter they can't pronounce or something? For example, in Arabic, we don't have the letter P, so instead we use beef, for example. Instead of popsicles, we say bobsicles. And Tumic actually doesn't have the letter D. Yeah, I'm serious, they don't have it. Instead, they'll use T, so a word like Nintendo will be Nintento. But for names like Daisy, it will still be Daisy, and not Taisy. Also, in earlier Tumic, the J is mostly pronounced Y. Other languages actually have that, like German and Swedish, and even a dialect of Arabic spoken in the Arabian Gulf. Persian Gulf, please don't attack me. Persians in the comments. But present-day Tumic J is more of a J than a Y, but words like Jimics is still pronounced as Yomix. Fun fact, biblical names like Joseph and Jacob are referred to as Yusuf and Yaqub in the Quran, where they are also recognized as prophets in Islam. These names, alongside others mentioned in both the Quran and the Bible, often differ due to linguistic variations in the languages they were originally written in. Now, here are a few names I written in Tumic. Maybe even your name is written. While there isn't a strictly practical reason for creating a fictional language, but think about it. The characters live in a completely different universe, with their own unique cultures and species. Having a language that reflects that world adds a sense of realism and depth to their lives. In the story, the Tumic language is most prominently used by Voblo, who is Sahu's brother. Voblo is highly skilled in Tumic calligraphy, and even created the signs and decorations for Sahu's Lumakar dojo. Lumakar is a martial arts in the universe, if you guys aren't aware. I also plan to use Tumic for background characters, especially gimmicks, to give the sense of a living, bustling world. You might hear them speaking gibberish almost like they're yapping nonsense, but it'll have a natural and authentic flow. I'm not aiming to develop Tumic into a fully functional language, but I do want it to feel natural as possible within the context of the story. And remember, the conlang is still in development. Before wrapping up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on my conlang. What do you think about it so far? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and one more thing, I'm currently working on a shorter webcomic called Clumsy Rubus. Clumsy Rubus will be released before Falro. It's about a mischievous bush that comes to life causing chaos, while two police officers hilariously try to chase it down. So if you don't want to miss it, subscribe and stay tuned. But anyways, that's it for today's video. Are y'all disappointed at me for not writing your name? Let me know in the comments, but that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.